Hi, Chris Kuzmal here. We're continuing to generalize our code to go from 1 to 2 dimensions in our simulation. And that began in the main method in the main class by passing 2 arguments on line 56 and line 58, respectively, to our matter constructor. Our default constructor doesn't take any arguments at all, and so that needs to be updated appropriately as well. And so when we go back to the matter class, and look at our default constructor, it doesn't do anything, and actually it's going to turn out to be okay for it to not do anything. And for that matter, our single argument constructor, which takes an argument called my position, I'm going to change that to my x position just to be clear about what's going on here. And so the methods that take no arguments and 1 argument don't affect my y position, and actually the method that takes no arguments doesn't affect my x position. That's initialized by default on the initialization of the variable here on line 5. For my position, I'm going to make that my x position. But now I need to introduce a second field that represents the second dimension. So I insert that line, and of course it doesn't indent the way I want, so I have to put it in right. And I duplicated the line and changed it from my x position to my y position. So now the good news is that my x position and my y position are initialized to 0 by default on lines 5 or 6. So my default constructor doesn't need to do anything because the default value is what it should be. And the matter constructors set the positions according to their arguments, whether there's 1 argument or 2. This is now lovely, but there's a sneaking suspicion that there's going to be a problem. And the problem is we got rid of the field called my position. And so other places where my position is used, such as update position, changes my position is incremented by the velocity, but my position is a field which doesn't exist anymore. So we're going to have to replace my position with my x position when we update our position. Okay. Is there any other place there's a problem? Well, as it turns out, when we print out our position, we also see that there are issues. There's wherever we see Hayton on a given line of code, when we draw, the position is used, the my position is used instead of my x position. So in some of these cases, we are going to want to replace my position with my x position. And in other cases, replacing my position with my x position doesn't transmit all the information that we would want. So when we're printing out our position, showing just the x position is not the end of the world, but it's not accurate. When we're doing our graphics draw, the graphics is already 2-dimensional. And so it's kind of okay, it's kind of appropriate that will be a x position. So those things all need to be updated. So there's not that many of them though. So let's go get to it and get started. Update position is going to have my x position incremented by my velocity times dt. But that's velocity has to have x and y components as well. So my velocity has to be my x velocity. So that's going to cause troubles because we haven't defined my x velocity either. Oh my God. Well, we'll just carry on. Let's update my y position. My y position gets incremented by my y velocity, which we haven't defined yet, times dt. And so my y velocity and my x velocity are variables which haven't been defined yet. And so we're going to have to create fields for them as well. And you can guess the same thing is going to happen with acceleration, and the same thing is also going to happen with force. So there's a lot of changes that are coming. We'll keep at it.